if one man isn't free, no man is free. For many reasons. One, because there is a mental bondage that will encapsulate your mind or your heart if you're treating someone else in bondage, okay? But from a less, ethereal perspective, simply that things can change, okay? And who is in bondage today? It may be you tomorrow, it may be the other man tomorrow. So it's very important for us to embrace freedom for everyone, because you never know when the tides are going to turn, and you're the one that's going to benefit from a condition of freedom that you've ushered into this nation, even when your freedom wasn't being challenged, okay? And so it's as well important because we don't know what the future holds for our children. And so many of you, like myself, we do our best for our kids. We have them in private schools, or we try to make sure they eat better than we did, or we try to make sure they exercise. We try to do all these things just so our children can have a positive future, maybe even better than our own. So it's important that in all aspects of life, not simply in the physical realm, in their physical realm, but also in the sort of invisible hand realm of what goes on in the lives of others, the control of the big brother of governments or whatever. We want to make sure that we keep freedom alive, okay, for all people. All right? My son came home from college recently. Not from college. He graduated from college like maybe 8 years ago or 10 years ago. But he's off in the real world, across the nation, working in his degree, successful, making a daddy proud and all, but still, you like to see your kids around you, but all the time, but they grow up. So he came home to visit recently, and it was just a joy and a pleasure talking to him. And as many of you know, I spent like 25 years as a mailman in the inner city, only coming out of that within the past less than a year after attaining my MBA and going to pursue other pastures. But having for so many years seeing the ills of our neighborhoods and the ills of the children of our children in the neighborhoods, it is a blessing, a breath of fresh air to see my son doing so well as an African-American young man. But in all honesty, I have to say that he was born after I had cleaned up my act, okay? I was no longer getting that buzz. I was no longer drinking. I was no longer smoking. I was no longer carousing in the streets every night of the week, drunk, 24/7, high 24/7, with just a destructive lifestyle. That guy, he never saw. I shared many times on this program how I had that epiphany one day that my life just wasn't positive and changed it that night. And so he's never got to see that other side of me. So the only side that my son has seen of me is this clean guy, this clean-cut guy, this guy that doesn't do the things that he used to do. And that was the influence in his life. That's what he garnered from his dad. See, the kids become like their parents. A lot of times when we look at them, we complain about them because of their attitude or the stuff they're getting into and what they're doing. If you look very, very closely at your child, even the parts of them that frustrate you, you'll see a very clear picture, or maybe a somewhat shaded picture, a mirror vision, a mirror image of who you are, and they got that from you. Yeah, my son, as he was growing up, he could be really stubborn, getting in trouble, not doing what he's supposed to be doing and all this stuff. But then as I begin to think about it, past the frustration, I begin to realize how much he was just like me. And then when you begin to realize your kids are like you begin to realize how to deal with them. Knowing that I just can't come at you like this and just lecturing because you're going to stand right in front of me and just let it go in one ear and out the other. That's what I used to do. When you begin to truly understand that your kids are just like you begin to know better how to parent them, because you know what you wouldn't have accepted had your daddy, or as your daddy tried to tell you, you know how to talk to your kids. And that is actually how I learned to reason with my kids instead of just telling them what I wanted them to do. Because I remember when I was told what I was supposed to do, I often did not do what I was supposed to do. But if I had been reasoned with, this is why you need to do it, because these are the benefits that you're going to have, that light bulb would have gone on. So it's very important that we recognize that we have to clean up our acts. And I think the hardest thing in the world sometimes for us, even as parents especially, or older folks before we've had kids, or even teenagers and all, it's a human trait, is to recognize that something is wrong with what I've embraced as being the norm. And so we see it. You wonder sometimes when you walk into the hood, or you walk into the hood of any race of people, or any nationality of people, and you see the destructive lifestyles, whether it be from the crack cocaine issue that was so prevalent in the black community, or the methamphetamine issue in the white community, or even the Oxycontin, and all these heroin issue that we have in primarily the white communities, and all of the other self-destructive lifestyle choices that people are making, whether it's the girls being extremely loose, or the guys not even caring about the babies they're creating, or the gangbangers, and all myriad of issues that we have as human beings. And you wonder then, why would someone just participate in lifestyle choices that are obviously going to be destructive? I saw that at juvenile detention. When I go talk to those young people, and how they would seem like they had it going on, yet they were locked up. It was okay, because they didn't see anything different. This was their life. And so even as parents, and unfortunately too many of us already have kids that have come into the world, and we haven't recognized this yet, that the lifestyles that we are portraying before them are not healthy, are not good for them at all, and will ultimately, in many cases, lead to their destruction. So we need to challenge it. As far as even for black folks, as far as this program is concerned, because we still have a lot of issues in this nation. The first slaves came here in 1621, emancipated, freedom from slavery in 1864. And then we had the Jim Crow, the issues all the way through civil rights in the 60s and 70s and all. And then we had a particular freedom in the 70s, still conflict with the police and all. But somewhere along this path, we have sort of become stagnant. We sort of become stuck. And we're still in this mess today. Why? And if you get on social media, you can see a particular reason. The police, the institutions, people always talking about black folks and all this negativity. But what I'm telling you, these are basically situations that we have allowed to happen, that we have allowed to keep us stymied from progressing any further in life. We are the pilots of our own destiny. As far as people, and we get so angry when people that are celebrities, or people that are politicians, or just regular folks that are on social media are saying negative and derogatory things about black folks. We're so concerned when these people are waving their Confederate flags, or relishing their particular statues of those Southern leaders and all. We get so upset, we get so offended, okay? But the last time I checked, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. We allow ourselves to be moved. We allow ourselves to be offended and knocked off our game simply because of the words and the attitudes of mindsets of folks. As we talk about, they're racist. That's a racist. This is a racist. But what I want to suggest to you, that racism is coupled with power. Okay? So there is a relationship between racism and power. And it's the power that has the ability to affect you in such a way that does not allow you to progress. And so what I'm giving you today is that most people that have racist attitudes and tendencies toward people of color, or black people, or brown people, or whatever, those people have no power. Those are just people that are sitting around that are just saying stuff that they know are going to be offensive, and they're going to get a rise, and they get a rise. But they have no power, so they're insignificant, but you're allowing them to be significant by responding to their offenses. Don't do that. One thing for me, there are certain rules that I try to live by that have helped me be well. Look, I turned 17 in 1970s, in 1975. I turned 18 in 1976 in the military. I joined the military when I was 17 years old. I'll be 62 years old this year. I've been unemployed about 5 months in that entire time, from age 17 to 62. Now, it didn't matter if there was a Republican president. It didn't matter if there was a Democratic president. It didn't matter what was going on politically in this nation. I was well because I was the pilot of my own destiny, okay? And we have to recognize this. And so what I'm suggesting today is that we have to stop giving power to folks who don't deserve that power. My litmus test, or my test for myself that I keep myself well with, is that I have four particular rules that I try to live by. The first rule is that I don't put my neck in a noose for anybody, okay? Those that would have a noose, I don't put my neck in it. And so what does that mean? That means like committing crimes or doing things that are going to allow authorities to take me into a place where they can abuse me if they want to. I don't put my neck in a noose for anyone. Second thing, what I would suggest is that you look at the folks that are your biggest detractors. Just stop for a moment, think about them, look at their lives, and consider. Are they really folks that you're going to allow affect? Do their opinions really matter? I don't think so. The fourth thing is to be sober, to get educated, to get healthy, and to be successful. That's what I call the Obama effect. The Obama effect will take the wind out of the sails of your critics, and it will loosen up that grasp that racist institutions have over you. But ultimately, it's up to you. You will rise to the level of your commitment. And so if you want to get out of the mess you're in, you have to commit yourself to follow it to the end. But there is no reason for you to be in the position you're in, a negative position, in this day and age. It's all a matter of choice. Well, I hope I've given you some things to think about today. And I want to thank you for joining me and listening. And I want to invite you to listen again. You take care.